Jay here for Stretford, Paddock. Manchester United have been knocked out of the FA Cup, losing to Chelsea 3-1 at Wembley. I'm here with my good friend Joe Smith. Joe, sum it up for him, mate. Not the result we wanted, but what about the performance?
It was just every single thing that, I wouldn't say everything that could have gone wrong went wrong, but every little decision, every little pass, every fucking touch, every save, every shot, it was just shit, wasn't it? It was just one of them games where we were just fucking shit. And like, we can talk about the 48 hours extra rest, we can talk about 21 fouls without a yellow card for Chelsea, we can talk about back passes, we can talk about concussions to maybe still Brandon Williams, definitely Eric Bailly, who that looks like a horrific injury. We're not even sure what's gone on there. I'm sure we'll find out hopefully tonight. Harry Maguire looked fucked. Wan-Bissaka, was he concussed, letting the ball go out all the time? Was the whole team played that they were concussed? It was just every single thing that could have gone into it. We talk about the stuff before the game about Lampard and talking about, oh, United get a lot of fouls. Do you think it was an accident that the week he talks about how many fouls United gets, he implements a tactic that is foul the fucking shit out of them? Do you think that's an accident? And obviously, yeah, good mind games, call it what you want. I'm not, yeah, that's the thing. Not one of these things is the only reason we lost. I don't think the tactics from Solskjaer were right. Although weirdly, the starting lineup that we started with was the only 11 on the pitch that didn't concede a goal. So that's weird, because I thought we looked shit and I didn't like the tactics from Solskjaer, but we only started conceding once the subs started being made, which maybe that was a frailty that Solskjaer was aware of and was trying to cover up by playing more defenders. I'm not exactly sure what happened there. Again, we struggle with the press. Solskjaer needs to find a way to make his players be able to get around a press, because Tottenham draw, Southampton draw, Chelsea loss. The 3 times we've been fucking pressed, we've dropped points every single time. That needs sorting out. We need a way around it. We need a plan B that allows us to keep the ball and not consistently allow pressure against us whenever we've got the ball. The amount of times we pass it, Maguire, Lindelof, Matic chipped it up, oh, we've lost it. We're trying to chip balls to Dan James when he's got Zuma and Rudiger fingering his arse on the halfway line. It's not going to work, is it? Just everything that could have gone wrong went wrong.
It worries me because you're quite optimistic, and I was watching the game with you, and your optimism at first, you're like, the first goal went in, you're quite like, it's no one's fault, it's one of them, it's not necessarily too harsh, but even you started getting to the point where you're like, this just isn't good enough. How sort of worried are you? The fact that you mentioned some of those games, teams pressing against us, and we looked a little bit tired. Do you think it's one of those where we just put this behind us, or do you think this is a genuine concern that we may be running out of a bit of steam?
Well, when I'm optimistic, it's not because I'm trying to be blindly supportive of anyone or anything. I generally try to look at a bigger picture that I think has been going certainly in the right direction for the last few months. I think that's undeniable at this point. But when you mentioned there, is this a trend? If you talk about whether this will affect the rest of our season, again, I would return to being a little bit more optimistic, because whilst it was a calamitous day, which we'll go back into, because I would like to pinpoint some more mistakes and some more problems, because again, I don't want to be seen to be blindly optimistic for no reason. If you're talking about this game today, horrific. If you're looking forward, we reacted after the Southampton game to quite comfortably beat Crystal Palace the other day. We reacted after the Tottenham game to quite comfortably beat Sheffield United. We've got to see that reaction again now to comfortably beat West Ham. So West Ham that are flying with the sort of striker in Mikel Antonio that is the absolute fucking kryptonite of our centre-backs, by the way. So that's going to be a fun bag of shit on Wednesday, isn't it? But yeah, I think in terms of long term, this is a misstep and a shit day. But if you want to talk about today, it was absolutely diabolical all the way through, to quote Alan Hansen.
How much of this, I mean, we've already seen some people having a over-the-top meltdown on social media, going Ollie out and all that nonsense, but how much of this rests with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Can you blame him for his tactics, or, is it not his fault that sort of David De Gea makes mistakes and that players who are usually reliable just have a bit of a stinker?
You've got to blame him for some of it, in the sense that you've got to give him credit for when they win. You've got to give him some stick for when they lost. One thing I would maybe give him stick for is, has this team played too many minutes in the last 3 weeks? Because every single man looked knackered today, absolutely shattered. We'll get into De Gea in a minute, but the whole team, Matic couldn't keep the ball. Even Pogba, when he came on, couldn't keep the ball. Bruno was stuck in that Pogba role of the last few seasons where, because he's our only good creative player, he's having to do everything, which makes him look worse because he's making taking more risks and therefore losing the ball more. Rashford doesn't suit a two-striker formation. Dan James didn't do anything, couldn't trap the ball when it was being played into him. Maguire and Lindelof consistently giving the ball away. Maguire, I hope he was concussed, because it was I mean, just a stunning sequence of decisions from him that seemed like the decisions of someone who didn't have their full capacity to him, because some of the passing, it was running back to goal, looking the wrong way, jogging and trying to get...
I don't think, right, in all my years of fan cams, I've ever heard anyone say, I hope he was concussed. But I get it, I do get what you're coming from.
The only excuse that because it wasn't like, obviously his passing was bad, it was the decisions he was making, the types of passes, the runs, the positioning, and you know, the De Gea. I like you said, I'd like to be optimistic and not overly optimistic for the sake of it, and you know, but generally I'm quite a positive outlook. There comes a time with the player when the job they are given, they are incapable of doing. And once it's been 12 to 18 months of a player, when do you say that this person is incapable of doing the job we need from him? Because he keeps dropping us points. He keeps, like today, you can say, oh, we've lost that game because I wouldn't necessarily blame him for the first goal, but he could have done better. The second goal, which was the killer, was Brandon Williams, a shit pass inside from him, sure. Lindelof and Maguire didn't close him down, sure. And then David De Gea, the ball is 2 feet away from his body when he said, it's here. It's not this, it's this. And it's gone through his hands again. And again, people say, oh, Dean Henderson stepping up from Sheffield United. I said this on the watch-along. If Dean Henderson isn't good enough, get a new goalkeeper as well. Like,
it's not one or the other, is it?
Not Dean Henderson or nothing. If De Gea's not good enough, get Dean Henderson in. Great, he seems like a good option. If Dean Henderson then isn't good enough, get another goalkeeper. We need to have good players in every position. It's not, well, what if Dean Henderson can't make the step up? Well, then get another goalkeeper that can. It's not one or the other. De Gea isn't there anymore. He isn't the goalkeeper that he was 2 years ago. And you mentioned it on the watch-along. He never commanded his box very well. His distribution has regressed massively in the last 2 or 3 years. He's not the sort of goalkeeper that is a captain material. We're talking before, Stephen mentioned about why Harry Maguire was given the captain's armband, because you've got players like David De Gea who've been at the club for nearly 10 years who didn't stand out as a captain. And you're the goalkeeper, you've been at the club for nearly a decade. We've got players like Phil Jones who have been at the club for a decade who don't stand out as captains. This team has been so devoid of that type of player. And for a while that was fine with De Gea because he was the best shot stopper maybe ever, honestly. He's the best I've ever seen as a shot stopper. But when you don't collect the ball, your distribution's not great, and now you can't save it either, I don't know what he's bringing. Just
finally, we've got 2 league games left. We're sort of within touching distance of Champions League football. Does Ole go for it in those 2 league games? It says now, do you think it's just strongest team possible, or do you think how do you think he approaches these final 2 league games of the season?
I mean, West Ham are just one of the most annoyingly inconsistent sides in the world, because sometimes you play them and you're 3-0 down after 30 minutes like we were at their place a couple of seasons ago, and sometimes you play them and it's just the easiest 4-0 you've ever had. So I think the fact that it's at home, even with no crowd, I think the crowd at West Ham's ground is what helps them. So the lack of that, regardless of where the actual game is being played, will surely help United. I hope we see a reaction. I hope, Solskjaer's given him an absolute bollocking. I think one thing we can all agree on after this 18 months, we started off seeing the PE teacher with a heart of gold, a bit of a soft touch. I think we now realise he's not like that. He's got a stern side. He's going to be screaming at them, and if anyone can get a reaction out of him, I think he can. But the first 20 minutes of that West Ham game will be crucial, because we need to see more than we saw today. It was just shambolic from start to finish in every conceivable way, and we'll see straight away whether that's going to be the case at midweek. But two huge games. Try and put this behind us if you can, as they have done. Like I said, they put the Tottenham game behind them. They put the Southampton game behind them. Got to do the same.
Got to do the same, got to have a reaction. Been shambolic today. Thanks, Joe. I've been Jay. This has been Stretford Paddock. Don't forget to hit like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.